afternoon, good evening, and good morning from wherever you are, and welcome to a rank list. And I don't mean judging mine, Jason, and Zam's underwear. We're talking about Star Wars films in this one, and this is the Star Wars films ranked. Joining me, I of course am Moist Gibbon, and joining me are my usual suspects of Jabba the Cunt and Cousin Cunt. All right, guys, how we doing?
Great.
I'm doing
I'm
okay.
loving life.
Okay, so on the screens you're going to see a whole load of Star Wars films, and we're not just talking prequels, trilogy, and sequel trilogy. We're also talking animated films and TV films and a couple of specials as well. And we're basically just going to rank them. Our ranking starts off at the bottom with Mary Sue Skywalker Palpatine tier. You can kind of get kind of going that tier.
And if you notice, they are the color of the lightsabers too. That's why Mary Sue got the yellow.
Oh, very clever. I just noticed that now. I should have had my Weetabix. Then we have Padawan tier. Then we have Jedi Master tier. And of course, the very thing we love to be is Sith Lord tier. And the reason we all like to be a Sith Lord is so we can choke ourselves. Autoerotic asphyxiation, which is a common practice among Sith.
And it took a great deal of restraint not to put a purple tier on there and call it the motherfucking tier. I'm just saying.
All right, so we are gonna go. How we're gonna do this? We're gonna take this each film.
Yeah, since I can see the film list right here in front of me, I'll read off the film. Ginge, you go ahead and start, and then Zam, you just do whatever you're gonna do.
Hell yeah.
All right, so
Okay.
we are also going in release date order, not chronological order of the films. I think I said that right. So,
Yep.
all right, so starting off is the original one, Star Wars: A New Hope.
Well, me personally, I think that one definitely goes in the Sith Lord tier. It's what kickstarted it all off. It's still great to watch, even to this day. The story alone is really still very compelling. Yeah, I'd personally put it in the Sith Lord tier.
All right, well, Zam might have to be our tiebreaker because I am not a huge fan of this movie. I don't think it sucks, but I don't think it. I mean, and it did kickstart the whole thing. So out of respect, I would be willing to give it Jedi Master tier. So the tiebreaker is going to be our football enthusiast himself, Zamario. So,
All right, I'll very quickly. I think this is an excellent film, but I would put this personally as Jedi Master tier. Reason being, there's always been a few things. Now the whole universe is being built up. We've got prequels, sequels, and everything in between. The fact that fucking Luke Skywalker doesn't call his uncle and aunt, mum and dad when he's been brought up with them from birth, I find always a bit weird. And on top of that, his parents were fucking killed, by stormtroopers, and that should have led them to the fucking dark side, and it didn't. So, for those reasons alone, Jedi Master tier.
okay.
Okay, moving on.
All right. The next one is everyone's fan favorite, Empire Strikes Back.
Sith Lord tier.
Sith Lord, without a doubt.
All right, I would say this one's also Jedi Master, but since I am outnumbered, I will put it up.
Put it on Sith Lord tier.
I'll put it
so
up.
much came from this movie. So much depth, and it wasn't a very genetic pew 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 action shooter. There was a lot of emotion in the fighting and the action sequences. This is Sith Lord tier, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Opening scene on Hoth as well, fantastic. Having the big battle at the beginning, not at the end, genius move.
All right, the next one we're going into, gentlemen, is Return of the Jedi.
Sith Lord tier.
I agree. Sith Lord tier.
Yeah. All right, Sith Lord tier.
What would you put it as, Zam? We want to know what you at least would put it as.
It's funny in a way that only in the latter years does the Ewoks bug me, but it is a film of two halves. The first half is saving Han Solo, which is great. Second half is obviously destroying the Death Star, redemption of Vader, and all of that shit.
And those are all great parts.
Those are all great parts.
Those are the best fucking parts.
Yeah. It's the flawed, dude. It's the flawed. It's just the Ewoks I don't like. Other than that, it's great.
Yeah, you're
You're
probably
not
one of
bothered about
those.
the Ewoks. I never got the Ewok hate at
No,
all.
neither did I. I never hated them. The only thing I hated was that the fact that they were supposed to be Wookiees, and then they cut them in half, literally, because of budgetary reasons. I kind of would have loved it if Return of the Jedi took place at, it wasn't Endor, it was Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I do.
Sith Lord
I like
tier.
this film. I love the progression of Luke Skywalker. By the time you see him from being, such a badass in Return of the Jedi. I fucking love it, man. So yeah, it's a great film. It's a great film.
Okay.
All right.
So now we're going to kind of get into a couple of the abstract. Well, technically these aren't in order, so I'm just going to go through these next three, which I believe the holiday special came out. Actually, I think the holiday special came out after the first movie came out, but we're getting to it now because reasons.
Holiday special, obviously, Sith Lord tier. It's work of art. The greatest big sliced pussy.
I would put it Padawan tier at best.
Obviously, Mary Sue Skywalker.
This is Mary Sue Skywalker. That is so atrocious.
I was about to say, I'm like, I'll meet you halfway at Padawan tier. But come on.
Stupid. Put it at the bottom, man.
This is atrocious. Like the way it looks horrible.
It was just horrible.
It looks horrible. It looks like it's filmed on a camcorder. It's awful.
It fucking derailed the whole bloody franchise.
Yeah.
Oof.
All right. Well, enough said about that one. We're gonna come to the first of the two Ewoks, or no, yeah, the first of the two Ewok specials. I'm gonna defer to you guys because I think I've seen the first one when I was a wee lad. I don't remember anything about these.
I've seen one of. I think I might have seen two of the films, but I've definitely seen one of them, and even then, I can't remember it. But as a kid, I believed I enjoyed it, so I'll just put it as Padawan tier on that alone. I think it's a good kids film.
I concur because I watched them as a kid, and as a kid, they were fun to watch. So in terms of, in case people come to chastise us, in terms of just childhood enjoyment and memories, it goes in the Padawan tier, even though it's absolute garbage, but it still goes Padawan.
So both of them, or
both of them? Yeah, both of them.
All right, both in Padawan. All right, we now officially have at least one movie in each tier.
Nice.
All right, so now we move into Ginger's favorite, the prequels. That's not true, by the way. Episode 1.
That goes in the Padawan tier.
I would argue for the Jedi Master tier because I loved a lot of parts of this movie and not a surprise, but this is the Star Trek version of a Star Wars movie, so that is not surprising. So you said Padawan, I said Jedi Master. Zam, where do you sit?
I'm going for Mary Sue. This film's a pile of shit.
So Padawan in the middle it is.
Yeah, Padawan.
Fair enough.
Ginger, you win this one. Curse you, Ginger.
I was willing to go for Padawan as well, but come to think of it, I mean, it's a bad film, and it's so bad that they had to bring back a character that they killed off because he was the best thing about it, and he hardly said fuck all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good moments in this movie, I feel, but even the Trek fan didn't like it. Man. All right. Next is one of my least favorites of all time. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Mary Sue. Fucking Mary Sue. Absolutely god-awful. I hate this film with a passion. And fun fact, I watched them film elements of it. At university, my course was granted very, very, very special passes because we were doing special effects and 3D animation in Ealing, which was just across the road from the studios where they were filming. A few of us got to actually see them film for a day. And nothing fucking happened when we actually went and saw them. There was a lot of setup shots and positioning and all of this. And that was about it. But we got to meet the cast, which was amazing. And it turned out to be the biggest pile of shit out there. So
you met the cast. You met Christopher Lee.
What?
You met the
Yeah,
cast?
met Christopher Lee,
Oh, you
Natalie
lucky fuck.
Portman, Ewan McGregor, Anthony Daniels,
Anthony Daniels. Oh
Hayden
man,
Christensen.
fair
So
enough.
the bits that they were filming like anything that was them sitting in the ships.
Okay.
So the bit is it on Coruscant where they're chasing that assassin?
Yeah,
And
Sam Whistles.
yeah, and the bit where they're chasing Count Dooku on the ships. Then it's just a blue screen with them standing in like this cutout of that trooper
That's
carrier
so
thing.
cool, man.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ginger. This is definitely Mary Sue Skywalker Palpatine tier. This movie, and a lot of people walked out of this movie. I remember it when people walked out of this movie like Yoda fought Yoda. That was the biggest pile of shit. And in retrospect, I think a lot of people think this, but that fight was the biggest pile of shit I've ever seen in my life. Like Yoda comes in, flips around for goddamn 30 seconds, and everybody loses their green jubbly shit. And I'm like, I walked out of the theater going, "What the hell was that?" If I want Yoda to fight, I want it to be something meaningful, like in the next movie we're going to talk about. I don't want it to be like him flipping around for 30 seconds and Dooku runs off. That was the biggest waste of Yoda's Jedi fighting debut. I don't know what to call it, but
yeah, that whole film just fucking sucked.
yeah, the only part I think I actually liked, I can't even remember it now. I think was like the scene in the Colosseum, and some of the fighting on the ground.
See that for me. Everyone talks about, oh yeah, that bit there where all the Jedi's come down, and I'm like, strategically, that was one of the stupidest fucking moves you could do ever. You've got spaceships. You do a full-on aerial assault before you fucking land. The whole film I hate that film so much. I hate it.
Yeah, I agree. And the part with Anakin and Dooku fighting was just terrible as well. And them just flipping their lightsabers around. Like, who the fuck even choreographed that? Like, that is like the biggest pile of shit I've ever seen in my life. I'm glad Anakin got his arm chopped off. Anyway, sorry, we spent way too much. Zam, I'm assuming where you're going to put this at.
I don't like this film either, but I don't like it. Sorry, you guys like it way more, dislike it way more than I do. Some of the shit you dislike it for is some of the reasons why I like it. Funnily enough, I love the Yoda fight scene. Love it, mate. I was like, yes.
Yeah, and that's how everybody walked out of the theater.
I know, but with the majority, so fuck you two. If you don't like it, you cunts. Majority of us loved it, so fuck you both, yeah. And on top of that, some of the other action scenes were pretty cool. I did like the scene where he's in the fucking android facility and he's cutting all that shit up. I didn't like Anakin in this film at all. I thought he was awful in this movie. I didn't like Padme in this movie. I didn't like the love story. It was all fucking awful.
Love story was terrible.
I did like Obi-Wan in this movie. He was great, even though he looked like Jesus. I love Jango Fett in this film. That was pretty cool.
The best part was Obi-Wan stuff.
Yeah, a lot of the Obi-Wan stuff. We got introduced to the legend that is Christopher fucking Lee. Even though unfortunately, we saw a Jedi turn to the dark side before Anakin with Christopher Lee, which kind of takes the rub off that a little bit, in my opinion. But nevertheless, it for me, I would put this at Padawan tier. But if you want to throw in Mary Sue, go ahead.
Oh yeah, baby, Mary Sue, that bitch.
Mary Sue confirmed.
And we saw him lose his arm and stuff like that. There was some interesting parts regarding connecting the dots, so to speak. And this was one of them.
Move on from it before you have an orgasm all over the screen.
I already have.
All right, so episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Padawan tier.
Padawan tier.
I'd go for Jedi Master tier, maybe even Sith Lord tier for me, because this is. Yeah, I really I like this movie. I like this movie a lot.
Palpatine was the only saving grace of this bloody film. His performance.
No, I liked Obi-Wan better in this one than in 2, and maybe
as well.
Well, but maybe my objective is skewed because it came after that disgrace of episode 2. But okay, but you both said Padawan, right?
Yeah, Padawan.
All right, well, I'm outnumbered anyway, so...
Just generally, I think the way George Lucas tried to make us observe Anakin go to the dark side, it wasn't done well.
No.
It wasn't done well. Like, even though we understand, we saw the moments he kills the fucking Tusken Raiders, he killed, and all of that shit, and he's already turned to the dark side by the time he kills the Padawans. But it wasn't done well. It wasn't done well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoy a lot of this movie. I'm not gonna say I enjoyed Anakin any more than I did in Episode 2, but I liked Obi-Wan better. I liked a lot of the fight scenes, the battle, the fight scene between Obi-Wan and Anakin was fantastic. It wasn't flawless because I had another one of those stupid
It
lightsaber
started
flipping
great.
moments.
It started great, but then they ended up surfing on lava and it just fell apart.
I mean, I'll give you that, but I enjoyed a lot of this movie. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so
Okay.
the next one, technically, and I don't know how many of you've seen. I've seen this movie, but it's the Star Wars Clone Wars movie.
I've seen it. It's
I've
shit.
seen it. Yeah.
It's absolute shit. Sky Guy. We got introduced to Ahsoka Tano in that one, and it was really shit because initially when I saw the film, I really thought it was a film about the entire Clone Wars, and it wasn't.
No,
It was
it
just
was just the initial boot into the
yeah,
Clone Wars
yeah.
TV show.
So
Yeah.
it left it and the whole and what we did get, saving Jabba's son and shit, really unfulfilling, really bullshit. It felt like a glorified pilot, which it was. I
Yeah.
didn't like it at all. Hated it. Hated it. This is Mary Sue.
Ginge?
Yeah, I agree. Mary Sue.
Okay. Mary Sue it is. All right, next one. We're going into... Oh, wait, hold on. Got to get back to the right screen. Okay. Next one we're going into. These ones kind of jump around only because of release dates. Do you guys want to run through the next trilogy together, like, in sequence and then the subsequent ones? Or do you guys want to just run through them in release order?
Let's just get the anthology ones out of the way first.
Okay,
And
so
then we'll do the sequels.
the anthology one. Oh, you want to... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm dumb. All right, so then we're moving on to Rogue One.
Sith Lord tier.
Absolutely, baby. You know how me and
I'll go
Ginge do
Jedi
love this
Master
one.
tier, but you guys love that film, so go for it.
All right. Yeah, this one had, and not to beat some meat too much, but I mean, this one has one of the greatest space fighter scenes in all of Star Wars. Period. I love this movie so much for this. Like, the beginning part was good, and I liked a lot of it, and I liked that there was no Jedis in it. I know I'm an anti-Jedi dingleberry, but whatever. But the space, I have to say that the space scene in this movie took me back to my TIE Fighter and X-Wing days playing, that, and oh my God. And the way they kind of meshed some of the older characters in there, I really didn't care. Like, it was one of those things where it's like you guys with Luke Skywalker. It's like you didn't care that it looked a little rough because you guys, you wanted this so bad, and it was so good. So that's my piece on Rogue One.
My bit real quick before I forget. Reasons why I said Jedi tier for a start is I thought the gang got together a bit too conveniently. I wish they were already together in the first place than just somehow rushing them together the way they did. I did not like the CGI Tarkin. I didn't think it was done too well. I did not like Forrest Whitaker in the movie. He pissed me off beyond belief. Did not like that fucking brain memory extracting alien thing. That was bullshit. Other than that, I mean, Donnie Yen is fucking fantastic. And Cassian Andor actor is very good as well. Some great moments. The ending, I mean, like the final third is one of my favorite things in Star Wars. It felt like Dirty Dozen and all of that. I had those vibes. It was really, really good. But for me, it's Jedi tier. But I guess I'm outnumbered on this one.
Yeah, for me, I just love that it was just a pure war film. It didn't try to spend too much time making us care for the characters. It was just like it was rough and it was raw, and the only kind of emotional bits you had was just Jyn Erso and her father, and that was it. And everything else, I also love that you got to see more into the Imperials and the backstabbing and betrayal there, and of course the final third act, one of the greatest action scenes of any film ever.
And the Vader thing.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Honestly, the Vader thing, and I'm not hating on this because it was a Sith, because I'm not Jedi Force hater type person, but I felt like that was shoehorned in. I get why they did it, and it was an epic scene, but it's like I felt like when I was watching it, it was shoehorned in, like just for the sake of being there. Truth be told.
Yeah, but I think that's how it ended the movie really well.
Just one more thing. I said that I wanted two things from this film before I watched it. And I wanted everyone in the main cast to die, which they did, which I couldn't believe that happened. I'm so glad they did. And secondly, I wanted the film to end just as New Hope began, and it did. And the two things I asked for, I actually fucking got. and that's one of the things which makes me like this movie.
Well, and I think one of the things that's going to cheapen it, and this is a video for another day, is the Cassian Andor show, which I like the premise of. I just don't like the fact that they're reusing a character that we could just get a whole new character and on the same premise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, you could call it Andor and still have it be like his brother or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds kind of dumb, but anyway. Okay, so that's a video for another day. Solo, a Star Wars story.
Padawan tier.
I'll go with Jedi Master. For me, I expected this film to be a pile of shit, and it got better as it went along. It kind of slipped a little bit at the end, but I was expecting a really bad film, and maybe when I went in there with that sort of mindset, the film got better than I expected. On top of that, a lot of people were expecting Donald Glover to be the highlight of the movie as Lando, but the actor who played Aidan Aldenwright, is that his name?
Yeah,
who played Han Solo, actually did a better job than most people give him credit for. It's a lot better. It's a lot better. It's a lot better than people give this film credit for. For me, this is definitely Jedi tier.
I agree with Zam. It is for me. It was Jedi tier, just because it was one of those movies that was outside the scope of, you didn't have Jedi flying around and stuff, and it was like kind of a smuggler's movie. I agree with the argument though that it could have been executed better. I do agree with that, but there were a lot of good actors in here, a lot of well done scenarios. I feel like
but the criticisms were valid. My biggest gripe was the love story angle. It would have been better with just him being him, and they tried to
developing a friendship with Chewbacca would be better.
Lothario too much, and that part was the part I didn't like. But overall, I could easily rewatch that more than I can the fucking prequels.
All right, so, Jedi Master tier we are.
Yep,
definitely more than the sequels, that's for sure.
Okay, here we go, guys. We're going knee deep. All right, The Force Awakens.
I would put it. I mean, if there was an in between Jedi Master and Padawan, I'd put it there. I didn't hate it. I'd put it Jedi Master. You know, the first 3 quarters of the film were great. It set up new characters. It had its adventures and all of that. The final act was just complete pants and too Mary Sue already kind of stuff. That's where it fell apart for me. But prior to that, I actually enjoyed the film.
Sam?
This is between Padawan tier and Mary Sue. This film is fucking shit. For a start, like the John Boyega character from the, he was made into a clown from the beginning. He was a bumbling fucking idiot, and you advertised him so differently, and then he's not even the guy who ends up being a fucking Jedi. Someone else. Is a bait and switch that didn't work out very well for Disney with that, especially what happens to John Boyega's character regarding this trilogy. Another Death Star as well. This film also made fun of Kylo Ren. He wasn't at his best in this particular movie. The Snoke character looked like fucking Gollum, played by Gollum, ironically. It was fucking. I hate this fucking film. This is. I mean, I'm willing to compromise and make it Padawan tier, but if it goes Jedi Master, I'll be really upset. This is fucking awful.
Oh, I don't mind putting it Padawan.
I mean, I'm in between Jedi Master and Padawan as well. I feel like there was a lot of things done well in this movie. I also feel like there were a couple cringeworthy things in this movie. This one I knew would be the one that was most divisive between a lot of us, just because. Okay, so here's what we have. We have someone who's in between Jedi Master and Padawan tier, and then we have a Mary Sue and Padawan, maybe. I would go between Jedi Master and Padawan. Do we just want to settle on Padawan?
I'll go with Padawan.
I'll go with Padawan.
All right. Either that or we bring in that motherfucker tier and put it right in between there. With the purple lightsaber. All right. Here comes a good one. The Last Jedi.
Mary Sue.
All right. I for the record, I'm going to say that I think this should be Padawan tier. I did not hate this one as much as everybody else did, and I do acknowledge all of the criticisms it gets. I do not like the way they did Luke at the end. I do not like the way that I did not mind the casino thing, but I agree that it was kind of side questy. And yeah, there was definitely a lot. I mean, so I will give you guys Mary Sue without an argument, but for the record, if this was just my list, I would do Padawan tier.
Let me just quickly add that, you know, on this particular, but there's so many reasons why I hate this fucking film, but there were plot threads created, you know, for Rian Johnson to explore, and he just finished it there and then. Just I'm done. You know, we're not going to continue this plot thread. You know, we're ending it here, and it really pisses you off because this film shouldn't be doing that. It should be developing and setting things up for the next one. And there was when this film ended, I had no idea what the next one was going to be about because I felt no setup. When Empire Strikes Back ended, it was all about Luke, you know, knowing that Vader's his dad and what's going to come from that, as well as the introduction of the Emperor in the second one as well. So there was something to come from that, as well as Han Solo as well being frozen in carbonite. There was nothing at the end of this movie that made me think what's going to happen in the third. It was a pile of shit. You know what I mean? It's a pile of fucking shit just on that alone, as well as all the other things, which I know Ginger would like to bring up, or you might want to bring up, who knows. But yeah, this film is awful, fucking awful. I mean, regardless of Luke Skywalker and all that shit, just that alone, I hate it. I hate the fucking film. Hate it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm going to talk positives on this, I would say the stuff between Luke, Kylo, and Rey was nice. There was some development there. The interesting kind of looking to the Force into a new way. That was it, but that's like that. The rest of the film, it's just a glorified fucking car chase in space. And it just did not feel like a Star Wars film. It was just a load of bollocks. New characters hyped up in advertising ended up being absolute shite. Snoke is killed off. Rey's a nobody. Fucking can you hear me now gag in there. Everything just goes from a serious tone to just, yeah, I'm just joking. And there were scenes that were cut out where Rey is about to raid a camp thinking it's pirates and it's just the locals. And Luke was like, ha ha, only kidding. Fuck this film. Fuck it in the ass. I hate it so much.
Hux was turned into a dickhead after that. He looked like a proper Nazi in the first one.
Oh, the fucking...
Yeah.
Oh,
and they ruined him.
The villains.
Yeah, ruined him. The only good thing to come out of this, the only good thing for me was, I think Kylo Ren came out better in this movie.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And other than that, you know, John Boyega's character, like by the second film, you thought to yourself, there's nothing for him in the third movie now. There really isn't. Like, oh god, you know, Rian Johnson even said that he was thinking about keeping him in a coma throughout his movie, but he had no idea what to do with him. You know,
well, and that's why I said that. That's why I've always said in the past that, I mean, that casino thing should have been something that happened. Like there should have been another movie with John Boyega's character, maybe like not in the episodics, like on his own. And I really feel like that there were a lot of movies in this movie, but just the movie as a whole was just a mess.
It was just a whole lot of nothing, basically.
Captain Phasma as well, so terribly utilized.
Oh, yeah. That was a shame.
This movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think Rian Johnson did a better job with her than in the previous film, but nevertheless, like a character like that should have lasted the entire trilogy. So to kill her off, in my opinion, was stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you had Captain Phasma in the first one, and I mean that one stormtrooper with the billy stick was more popular than her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. His name is Traitor.
That's what happened. That's what happens when you have a Boba Fett gone wrong, like a character that looks cool but does not get the popularity that is garnered.
Yeah, his number is TR4, Trey 4, or something like that, because obviously he calls Finn a traitor, and then they renamed him as Traitor or like TR4 or something like that. That particular stormtrooper.
That's how fucking stupid they are.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys good?
Yeah.
All right. You guys sound so depressed. All right, moving on to the culmination of the entire Skywalker saga. What's it called again? The Rise of Skywalker. That's right. What do you guys thoughts?
Can I start
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
never realized this until somebody brought it up later on, but Palpatine won. All the Skywalkers are dead, and and his heir, you know, which is Rey, lives. Even though she takes the name of Skywalker, she's technically a Palpatine. The Palpatines won. They beat the Skywalkers. But this film is
That's
this
not
film,
an inaccurate statement.
you know, and
No.
this film is shit, but I'll put it at Pad 1 tier. I felt JJ had to clean up a lot of try to figure out a way of tying everything up in the loose ends, as well as Carrie Fisher dying as well. Personally, I wouldn't have added her in this movie. I would have started the scroll mentioning her death, because the way they used her wasn't done, you know, with the deleted scene from the previous films. So yeah, I give it a Pad 1 tier just for the sake of J.J. Abrams having to try and wrap this shit up. But you could just tell that with this entire trilogy, they were just fucking winging it. They ain't got a fucking clue. You know what I mean? So yeah, Pad 1 tier just for the sake of trying to wrap this up.
So, Mary Sue, for me, this film was the worst of the worst. It's on par with episode 2. J.J. Abrams is like, I know you say he tried to wrap it up, but he could have done it in the easiest fucking way possible. If it wasn't hard to wrap this film up, all you had to do was Kylo is Grandmaster, okay, but he has an obsession with Rey, and you build a love triangle between him, Finn, and Rey.
No.
He kills Finn. No, trust me, he kills Finn. Rey and them battle it out. She kills Kylo. No redemption story needed. He doesn't need to be redeemed at all. Hux, like, you know, is laying waste to the fucking Rebel Alliance and all of that. Then the galaxy rallies together to defeat them. It wasn't hard to do. But what they did here was they just shoehorned in a load of shitty fan service and just completely shit the bed.
Rian Johnson set up this third movie to be
A failure.
No, well, not just that, but he did set it up to a degree to make it as Kylo Ren as the main villain, and that's what should have happened. And J.J. Abrams didn't have the balls to do that, and he brought back Palpatine. He wanted to give Kylo a redemption arc, which is something I didn't want, but I have to be honest, I thought it was done really well. But nevertheless, Kylo should have been the fucking villain of this movie, the big bad. You know, then it would have worked. I think that would have worked much better than Palpatine. To bring back Palpatine just goes to show they had no idea what the fuck to do. Not a fucking clue. You know what I mean? Even the fact that they didn't make Snoke an Inquisitor, that he was a clone. They should have made him an Inquisitor. Use the universe. You got it there. You know, not a Sith Wayfinder, a Sith Holocron. Come on, man. Stop treating us like fucking idiots.
Snoke should have been Mace Windu. He should have came out with that purple lightsaber. Motherfucker, chop me in half.
Okay, you're joking. Fine. But yeah.
I didn't hate this movie as much as most people did. I'm not going to say it's Jedi Master tier. I agree with you that it's a Padawan tier. But I agree with Zam that the redemption story, I like the redemption story of Ben Solo. I feel like we were always heading there. From the very beginning of this trilogy, we were always heading there. It happened in the original trilogy, and I get it. And I agree that sounds very, they're just copying the original trilogy again. Okay, I get that. But at least they did it better than, like, at the very last minute, Vader picks Palpatine up and throws him down the chute. I also agree Palpatine coming back was a bit of a long shot. That was kind of dumb. Not a long shot, but you know what I mean. Like, it was a bit of a stretch because it's like, okay, you're right. You don't have anybody. Snoke should have been built up in episode 8 as a much bigger bad. Snoke could have been the main villain with Kylo. Maybe I'm not going to get into my
being killed off. By the way, I had no problems with him being killed off because it meant that Kylo should have been the big band, and hopefully they would have explained Snoke as well in the third movie the same way Ben explained.
He did. Snoke was in a pickle jar.
Yeah, I know. The same way Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi explained to Luke Skywalker about Darth Vader being his father. They could have explained very briefly on Snoke in the third film. But I have no problem with him being killed off. But the way they brought back Palpatine instead of making Kylo the big band. That's my problem. That's my problem there.
Okay.
If anything, one more thing. If I could go back in time, I would make JJ do the first two, and then make maybe Rian Johnson do the third film.
I would not let Rian Johnson anywhere near this trilogy.
If I could change it around, though, that would have been better because Rian Johnson was sealing things off. He wasn't continuing. He almost ended the fucking trilogy with the second film without a third one being needed the way it felt. You know, so I would have rather have him do the third movie than the second one.
Okay, well, in that case, I guess you're right. But no, I would have liked to see Rian Johnson have his own trilogy, like not even like episode 10, 11, and 12, but more like just his own movies and in his own portion of the universe, doing his own thing, whether it's Jedi's, Smugglers, Outer Rim, whatever. But plucking Rian Johnson right in the middle of this was just not a good idea, in my opinion. So
I agree.
Okay. So we're settling on.
Padawan here for me. What about you? Jin says Mary Sue.
I'd say
Padawan. Padawan, so Padawan.
So we got a lot of Padawans here. Okay. So just to wrap.
Shows you how many shit
in reality,
there are.
there's only 4 good films, 1 okay one, 2 okay ones in Solo and The Force Awakens for me, and the rest are just shit.
Okay. Well, I'm going to run through it really quick while we wrap it up. So the Sith Lord tier is Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and Rogue One. The Jedi Master tier is Star Wars and Solo. Padawan tier is the 2 Ewok movies, Episode 1, Episode 3, Episode 9, Episode 8. If you don't know their names by now, fuck off. And the Mary Sue Skywalker Palpatine tier is the Holiday Special. I don't know why you guys didn't want that Sith tier.
Episode 9, Episode 8. Don't you mean Episode 7 and Episode 9?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Episode 7 and Episode 9. You're right. See, I don't even know them. Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, right. Episode 2, Clone Wars, and The Last Jedi, Episode 8, are in the Mary Sue Skywalker Palpatine tier to be ejected into the Great Abyss. Gentlemen, how do you feel about our list?
It's all right.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, Ewok one, literally, just to repeat, it's just there because as children, they were fine. I haven't watched them.
I mean, we even debated on not even putting those in there. Like, we were just like, I don't remember much about them. So
yeah.
But, so we figured that's a fair spot for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ginger, take us out.
Well, that's the end of our Star Wars rank list. Please let us know in the comments below what your favorite and least favorite Star Wars films are. Don't get angry at our list. This is just us having a general conversation. I always say top rank lists are always subjective, so there's no point in arguing against somebody in these scenarios. But I would love to see what your favorites and least favorites are. And with that, I'd like to thank my co-hosts for joining me, Cunt Cheeto and Cunt Zam.
Thank you.
Cunt Gibbon.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Ginger, I give your hosting a Sith Lord tier. Just saying.
Thanks, babe.